Welcome to the Don't Die Rusty podcast. I'm Rick Hanson, and we will be talking about living, not dying. We're all on this adventure together, and we will be interviewing people who inspire us to live our best lives. People with various backgrounds who will walk us down the trails they took to not die rusty. Adventure in life are many things to many people. It could be a sprint or an endurance race, but with each adventure, we become a better version of us. We hope you keep chasing those dreams, being the best you, and of course, don't die rusty. Welcome, Don't Die Rusty Nation, to episode 10 of the Don't Die Rusty podcast. And I'm your host, Rick Hanson, and I'm here with Ricky Brule, of course. And
Heidi ho.
yeah, we've made it to episode 10.
Episode 10, man.
We broke the norm.
We did, because, when I started getting into this, I looked at statistics, and it said that most podcasts, they die rusty at episode 7. They don't get past episode 7. So here we go. We're at episode 10, man.
And we're, you know what? It's interesting because we're still oiled up because we have a bunch more people coming up. We'll talk about that a little later here.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Ricky flew in yesterday because we need to meet every once in a while in person because as we'll probably be doing some funny posts here how Rick's a technological idiot at times.
This Rick.
Yeah, I didn't say Ricky. But here's the deal.
For the record, I'm a technological idiot sometimes too. Ask my wife. I've been trying to print out cards for her the last couple of weeks, and it's just I won't even get into that. But yeah.
Well, here's the deal, Ricky. You flew in yesterday. We climbed Crow Peak today.
Yeah.
And we had some good conversations, and we're learning some stuff about each other. But you know who I really, really want to thank, though, is those people that are listening to this.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I mean,
so cool.
It is so. When we first started, we started talking about this, and we started doing this. You still always have questions, like, what is the purpose? What are we doing this for? And people, I'm going to say, I know we say Don't Die Rusty Nation, but a lot of these people have become the Don't Die Rusty family too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not besides our guests, but some of these people that DM us and some of us that just keep you going. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's listening and supporting us, and some of the outreach we've had that have came to us. Actually, it's really interesting. Where I'm going to go right now is this is just awesome. We have learned a lot from people that we have had these conversations with.
Yeah, things that we didn't know about. People.
I'm gonna touch a little bit here on Kelly all of our guests have said somewhat that there's a purpose for what you do.
Yeah.
And like I said, we have a Don't Die Rusty family out there, and we've been getting. Everybody says they get a DM, and everybody says, I want to answer your questions, but we have, and I'm not a counselor, or I'm a certified counselor, but we've lived life, and I can give them my life examples, and you can too. But I've got DMs that said thank you for putting this out there, and I know you have too. About you have influenced my life, and our episodes have influenced people's lives, and when you become a trusted person to come and talk to keep moving forward, to get past those humps, to climb those mountains, to see what's on the other side, I feel we have purpose now. So watch out, world here. I've got DMs just thanking me that now I am starting to exercise a little bit, and it's not, and we don't say you're gonna go break a world record. We just say, like, when you're out there exercising or like climbing Crow Peak, and I'm going to tell you people today, and if you're on any of our social media today, and this is April 20th.
Yep.
Ricky and I climbed Crow Peak, and we got to the top, and just as we were getting to the top, it was that cotton candy. Then 2 or 3 minutes later, the sun started coming up, and now you know the view I get. Because Ricky's never saw this view that I get,
I haven't.
except on social media.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the first comment I made is just, the videos and the photos, they're beautiful, but they don't do it the same justice. Like, you got to see it in person,
Yeah.
And it was just, it was amazing, and it was a cool, brisk morning, and so there was frost on the sign, and when we got to the Crow Peak sign, and it was just an amazing hike this morning.
I think you're being kind with cool. We got to the top, and the breeze, and it's like the sign was frosty. And my fingertips just started getting cold when we got to the top. Mm-hmm. So, but that's the part about it. We never felt it till we got to the top.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to keep on putting out, not just climbing peaks but I want people to know they can climb their mountains. And I've been touched by people reaching out, and the other day I had a fella reach out to me that's going through a divorce, and after listening to the episode with Kelly, and listening to what some of the stuff that I went through, it was nice to know that you can be trusted to go into this. I'm not going to, of course, there's no names. This is just general talk too, because I just don't want to say anything, but because it was trusted. I feel when we say go talk to someone, go talk to someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was a deeper conversation than just, hello, how you doing? The weather's nice outside. And I appreciate that, and I hope that we keep on touching people with our guests and with our mindset and our purpose.
Yeah, and I think the takeaway from that particular individual that you spoke to is, it's okay to let it go, let it out, get it out. However, you know what I mean? Because I think, as men, we have this pride, and feel like, and I always feel like I have to build this shell, you know what I mean, to show my family and to show the people around me that I'm strong and I'm not weak. But when you don't allow yourself to kind of break down that barrier a little bit, you just hold that inside and it just eats at you. Yep. You know what I mean? And so you got to get it out somehow. You got to, and whether that's, crying or having the conversation with somebody, or, you know what I mean? There's a time and a place, but it's just, again, like you said, you had that day where you climbed up Crow Peak and you got to the top and you just screamed at the top of your lungs. You know what I mean? Like, show me something. Yeah. Give me a sign. What's going on? What am I here for? What's the purpose? And so, I think that's the big takeaway, and we're not telling people what to do. It's just these are the experiences that we've gone through, and just don't allow all that pent up anger or frustration or sadness, just sit there and fester.
Definitely, because we all go through something. So, but I want to thank you, Don't Die Rusty family, for trusting us and knowing that we will be there. I mean, DM me anytime. If I don't see it at night, I'm sorry, I'm sleeping. If you don't have my phone number, of course. But I just want people to know that we'll get to you as soon as possible, because I get up early in the morning anyway. But yeah, we'll get to you, man. And
we're here to listen.
We're here to listen, or try to find people to give you a direction. And we're also here sometimes to make you laugh, and we're here to make you cry, and we're here to make you hope, not make you, but just keep you from dying rusty.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to talk about a few more guests here in a little bit, but and how they've affected us, but we've got some good things going on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm we talked about earlier about people being affected by what we're trying to say and do.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be collaborating with Sober Cowboy.
Sober Cowboy, yeah.
So if you go check her out, Lacey Singleton is the owner of Sober Cowboy.
Yeah.
And it's a lifestyle choice, making the right choices. Like, we can change from, if you need help in any way to help make better life choices. Lacey's creating this company that is going forward and going to help rural cowboys and other people in the rural areas to help better and make better choices.
Yeah, and she has a bit of a journey of her own.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of what's led her to want to help people. And she, spends a good amount of her time in that arena,
Yep.
and in the rodeo and bucking horses and things like
Yep.
that.
Leather
right?
making.
Yeah. And so, I just think that she saw what we're doing, and she reached out to us, and then it's like, and then so we're looking at what she's got going on, and it's like, man, we align pretty well in
Yeah,
that
we do.
respect. So
Coming up, Ricky and I and a couple other people are going to do 7 peaks in 24 hours in the Black Hills.
yeah,
I'm not going to say the order we're going to do them because I'm still debating. And then we're partnering with Sober Cowboy, and we're going to try to raise funds by selling a limited T-shirt that Ricky is going to create to kind of celebrate Don't Die Rusty and Sober Cowboy.
Yep.
And all proceeds, or at least most of the proceeds, will go to Sober Cowboy.
yep. And then we've got a number of different ideas as far as how those funds could be used to facilitate her goals
Yep.
as far as Sober Cowboy. So some things we talked about is, maybe putting the funds towards maybe some guided trips into the wilderness, maybe some type of wilderness therapy, perhaps, some fishing trips, or, maybe getting them, we even talked as, getting them outfitted maybe with a archery setup, because we know that archery helps out so well with PTSD and those types
Yep.
of things. And so just some ideas that we have right now. We're still kind of somewhat in the infancy in this whole thing, but super excited about getting it going. It's just a really cool opportunity, and it's proof that what we're doing is on the move.
Yes. I'm going to go up to the bucking horse sale and meet her, and then she's going to come down, and we're going to do a podcast, and then we are going to probably, so the family and the nation get to know Lacey a lot better, and we'll put that one out a couple weeks before we do the challenge.
And the bucking horse sale, is that in Miles City?
Yes.
Miles City. Okay.
So we'll be up there, and but when I said all proceeds, I meant we got to pay for the T-shirts. So anything after the payment of the T-shirt will go to Lacey.
Yep.
And try to help people out. That's what we're about.
Mm-hmm.
Is helping people out. Yes, I would like this to be a successful venture, but I just love I love helping people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I just wanted to mention that in between some of the things that we got going on, and the 7 Peaks and Sober Cowboy are very exciting to me, and Ricky also. And I just wanted to get that out in between here. The Fiona episode. Now, well, let's just go into these.
Yeah.
So
what we're gonna we want to do like a little bit of an episode breakdown,
Yeah.
right? So we'll just kind of go back and just give some quick highlights on the episodes that we've had up to this point for anybody who's new and hasn't been here yet, just so that it gives you kind of an idea of what you can get into if you go back and listen to some of those episodes.
Yeah, because in episode 2 we did Fiona, Mr. Pierce, and you need to, if you haven't listened to it, you need to listen to it. But I got so many comments about, well, I got 2 comments this that they were driving down the road and they had to stop
Oh,
because they were getting so emotional about what was happening. They were just like, they had to listen to it, but they didn't want to be driving down the road because it was just kind of like, which that's episode 2, and we're making an impact right then. If we can, in that story had me emotional when we were talking about it, so I understand, and we've got a lot of good feedback from that, from Fiona's. And that was one that impacted me because I started, like in the episode I said, I started thinking about put myself in positions of that she might have been in, and
right.
and how many times have we seen clips or whatever in social media where they say how many people are going to run towards the fire and not away from the fire,
Right.
and that helps me get in the mental mindset. Not that I would run towards the fire, but maybe run to it with a purpose,
Right.
like trying to know what I'm going to do before then.
Yeah. Yeah, and to speak more on the emotion of that story, and I edited that episode, and it was, just the first time I listened to it, I kind of got chills and stuff, and I was just like, man, this is miraculous. Then when I went back and was creating the reel for the teaser, and you add some music to it, and it adds like a certain tone and everything, and I had listened to it multiple times, and then all of a sudden I heard, I played back the reel before I posted it, and I just like instantly welled up, like, and I even messaged you when I was, I was like, bro, like I'm over here crying like a baby,
Yeah.
And I heard it multiple times, but it's just, it's an incredible story, and for, I'm sure in the moment, you react and you do what you feel your purpose is.
Yep.
But I can't even imagine, like, even putting myself in that situation, just the amount of stress and just the adrenaline dump that you get from that type of a situation, and then the unknown for weeks, and then all of a sudden here you've got this, I won't get too deep into it, but because we want people to go back and listen. But yeah, just an incredible story.
Yes, and it was touching. It if anything to say about it, I think is touching.
Yeah, and if there's anything, the only thing that I'm disappointed about with that episode is that I couldn't be there to be a part of it.
Yeah. So, but you did get to be part of Kelly's.
Yes.
And we got to go into that one, and like when we did the episode, I said I didn't want you to know anything about this whole deal. And I knew, being the person that I am, I was going to get a little teary-eyed and sentimental, but I didn't want to do or talk about this before you were there, because I wanted, if the questions came up, I wanted you to understand and ask different questions.
Right.
And it was that conversation. I talked to people that I know, a lot of people I know, and they said, I did not know that you were going through that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But I hope if anybody listens to this episode, that if they are going through anything like that, which, like we talked earlier, a person has talked to me since, but if anybody's going through hardships like that, talk to someone.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, we talked about just because I might get sentimental and a little teary-eyed doesn't mean that I'm not going to be that 3 a.m. person to go out there and kick somebody's butt for that close person too.
Yeah.
It does that stuff doesn't resonate well with me that you think that a person's weak by doing that, because I have no problem going out there to help that friend either
Right.
that's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put that friend in front of me, in front of me, behind me, and stand there and fight off his demons with him.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we need to know that just because you go through something or I go through something doesn't mean that we're not going to stand there in front and help fight the demons or whatever is causing this. Or if we need to go kick somebody, I'm not saying that we're going to go do that, but if we, that 3 a.m. person.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit this morning too on our hike up. And I have a friend right now, well, we sort of just kind of had a falling out, I guess, and went separate ways, and I guess it was kind of mutual, and we more recently came back together, through a series of events, and I am kind of bullheaded about it, and I'm just thinking I don't, I don't feel like it's really my place. This particular individual, he's been toxic towards me in the past, and I don't need that in my life. But even our own podcast inspired me and made me feel like, this is my opportunity to be a Kelly, like Kelly was to you. And so, it gave me the strength to want to, meet with him and see how things are going, because I should mention that he's been having a tough time. When I saw him, I could tell he wasn't well.
Yeah.
And so I reached out and I said, "Man, you don't look good. If you need an ear, let me know." And so we met up, and he kind of laid it all out on the table, And if we were kind of in a public place, and I could tell, like, if we had been in a more private setting, he would have probably let go,
Mm-hmm.
And again, so our own podcast has influenced me to want to be better as well. Because even though we have these conversations often, it's easy to kind of get into your little bubble and just be like not wanting to invite more people in and that kind of stuff. And so, so I'm having my own story in that regard taking place right now.
Well, it's our life choices, and neither of us have made the right choice all the time, of
Right.
course.
Yeah.
And people have learned some of our throughout the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
They've learned some of our not right choices, but they've learned our right choices. And we keep on moving forward from these choices. And if you can influence this person, like in the episode with Kelly, there's a time and a place for everything. There, like you said, there's what was it, seasonal friends, and we need to know if we're the seasonal friend to help them get past this point and they keep on moving forward, or if we're the whole year-round friend.
Right.
But because everybody comes into somebody's life for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And we have got many friends or many acquaintances, but how many friends do we have? And those are the ones that are, because it's interesting when you're older. When you're older, you realize that your circle of friends is smaller. But when you're young and vibrant and bouncing around all over, you think you have many friends, but some are just acquaintances.
Yeah.
But since we've been doing Don't Die Rusty, the podcast, we all like learning about people, and like Pat McCurry, I feel like and Emily Howgood, we've become friends and we didn't know each other.
Right. Yeah.
Paul, these people we haven't had a long relationship with like some of the others we might have, but we've created a friendship that
Yeah.
and Pat, I love his Tuesday tips.
Yeah.
We keep moving. The one day he had a one Tuesday tip a couple weeks ago, and we were messaging back and forth, and I'm saying, because every time I climbed Crow Peak when I was training, it was how fast can I get up? Can I beat it by a second? Can I beat it by whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I failed if I couldn't beat it by a second. But he had like, what's your training purpose when you're told to go 80%, go 80%.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept on thinking to myself, like, I kept on going up to try to beat myself. And in life, it just struck me like, in life, there's times we need to go 80%, and there's times we need to go all in.
Right. Yeah.
And what is the purpose of what we're doing? Are we training with purpose? Or because here's the deal, we're lucky to have like Pat and Emily who are in the training and in the world-class athlete stage, because that brings a perspective to me, because I'm listening to these people that are around these people that are world-class, and it's like they are training with a purpose, and not every you can't keep on trying to be the best runner every day, we'll say, or you're going to get injured, or you're going to, where I'm going with that is like, if Pat says we need to go 80%, 50% this day, just keep our legs moving, and I'm using this in every sense of the word, but besides athletics, but there's days that we need to just relax.
Yep.
But keep moving.
Absolutely.
Like, maybe shut off that TV and read a book.
Yep.
Or maybe sometimes turn on that TV and chill out for an hour or so.
Yep.
To keep just to keep things relaxed. You don't have to be turned on mentally and physically, as in we don't have to be like going fast all the time. We can turn the dimmer switch down just a little bit and recoup and keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so just to go back to on that, Pat McCurry, he is a endurance athlete coach.
Yep. And
we got hooked up with him through a mutual friend, and he just, his essentially his story and what kind of made him a fit for this is, being an endurance athlete himself, he understands suffering, right?
Yeah.
And then also, he basically found an opportunity to actually go in a direction that is away from modern conveniences.
Yep.
And him and his family just took the plunge, and they did it, And so that I think is a really cool thing to do too. It's scary, to just kind of uproot your family and say, "Hey, let's do this. Let's take the plunge." And there's a lot of risks with that, and they made it work, and so they're thriving.
Yeah, to jump in feet first and go is it is a scary thing, especially knowing that you have a new baby.
Yeah.
And that Pat his wife was having a baby, and to jump into this and want to raise the cool thing is wanting to raise your family in a area where you think that you're going to where you think it's a better place to raise your family.
Mm-hmm.
And in today's day and age, I know I feel lucky that I've got to be raised in the country, and I think that it's a great place, a beautiful place from the videos that he makes for the Tuesday tips and whatever else. So no, that was amazing. And then it, we'll get to, if I'm going to get to Emily, because Emily is trained by is is coached by Pat a little. I mean, there's more coaches for Emily than Pat, but Pat hooked us up with Emily, and that conversation was Emily Howgood. She's a world class ultra runner, and she runs for Adidas. And that was just a fun Sunday conversation, Sunday morning conversation we had with Emily, because the day before she just ran 30 kilometers in a race, and she's smiling and joyful and like going, my gosh, girl.
She's just a ball of positivity.
And she is.
Yeah. Just always a smile on her face. So it's really cool. That was a fun chat.
Yes, and to chat with her and learn about her being in America, and her other coach taking her up shed hunting and doing the whatever else they were doing up there, like shed hunting in itself, it just kind of took me aback. And then we do the conversation, and we learn about some of the books she reads and some of the races she's run.
Yeah.
And going through some of those hardships and getting past the, like, I'm hungry and I want to eat chicken nuggets, and go forward from there, and keep running this race. It was like, that's very cool to me. Like, yeah, I know I'm running a race and I'm hungry for this right now. And I look at that and I say, there's times that we're running our races, but let's take time and stop for the ice cream, we'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's make ourselves feel good, because I think I'll keep moving, but this makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And that's a mental state. And that was such a fun conversation. And then
I want to talk real quick about too how, because we talk about how some, the Don't Die Rusty family and how they influence us as well. And she had recommended, or she was reading the book Unbroken.
Yep.
And, it's a story about Louis Zamperini. He was in the Olympics in Berlin just before World War II. Just an incredible story of survival, and that's one of those books where it's really life-changing when you read through it and you realize, like, man, all these petty little things that I'm complaining about all the time it's just nothing. It's it really gives you it's a reminder, and it adds a whole new perspective on life. So it's just like, it's a life-changing story. And so that was really amazing how that happened and how that worked out,
Oh, it is. And then to become friends, Emily, if you're listening to this, you're certainly one of the founding members of the Don't Die Rusty podcast, being on this episode, because when she went to Italy to run in the endurance race, I was cheering her on all the time. And I kept on watching, and now it's just fun to watch and know somebody that she has a good heart. And it's just fun to watch somebody that I'm going to be cheering her on forever now.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully get to go watch, or at least be a part of the race sometime.
Yeah, the Western States.
Well, any
whatever
race that she's in, that if I could make it there, I'd like to be there either at the finish line, or it'd be fun to be up and watch, at least with the crews. I certainly don't want to step in, and me, Ricky. What I would do is I'd probably try to be a pit stop member, and my shoe would fall off and she'd trip over it and sprain an ankle, and then she'd be out, and then it'd be a bad deal for me.
Murphy's Law, man.
Yeah, so I would keep my distance till the race is over. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
So one of the fun episodes, well, I don't know how fun sometimes episodes are when they talk about finding finding themselves and changing their lives. That's fun. So when we talked about Frank and with Frank and Sean, another situation where my technical skills, we were going to have them together and we didn't. But in the end, it ended up being a double episode. We put the two together.
Yeah.
But to talk to Frank and to learn about some of his struggles,
Mm-hmm.
and then talk to Sean and learn about some of his struggles, and you can't beat nicer people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable what those two guys have done for the Total Archery Challenge family.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just, and even, all the events that, you've been to quite a few more than I have, but everyone I've been to, just, amazing people.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always a family reunion when you go there. And when we talked to Sean, he was a little more humble about it but it's always a family reunion in the aspect that usually the vendors are there that you haven't seen for a while and usually there's always changes of who's in the booth.
Yeah.
But usually you see the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And then you meet this person there and let's go shoot.
Yeah.
And then the next year you meet these people. And then you go do other things with these people. If you want to take it a step further, we can go in the before TAC was TAC, when it was Bowcast at the Bird.
Yeah.
That's where me and you met.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that before, but
2009, I think.
Yeah. And now we're friends that are not just acquaintances.
Yeah.
And we become this whole thing of becoming good friends with Frank and Sean is, I know that me getting to ride around with Frank and see the world through his eyes
Mm-hmm.
has made me a better person.
Yeah.
And to see Sean, we talked about it in the episode, but having faith to bring to come to Terry Peak.
Yeah.
Now you want to know how that humbles a person when they have confidence in you as a person to come to Terry Peak.
And you're talking about Sean's confidence in you.
To say that this will be successful.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, and
took a little nudging.
It took a lot of nudging, but but that was the good thing about this stuff, is to have the faith in me that I it just starts molding a person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's where we're going. We're molding slowly. We're molding ourselves as we're molding the Don't Die Rusty family.
Right, exactly. And for the new people who are here, who haven't had the opportunity to maybe listen to that episode is with Sean DeGray. He's the owner of Total Archery Challenge, and then Frank is like his right-hand man,
yep,
essentially. And just a super great guy, always out there talking to people. I've never seen him like upset or angry or anything like that. I'm sure he gets that way at times, but he shows up.
Well, he does show up. I like that you said that, because we were talking about this climbing the mountain too this morning.
Yep.
And I was telling him about the story that I got back from shooting in the morning, and I wanted to. This is at Big Sky last year,
mm-hmm.
and I am trying. I said, Frank, I'd like to go back up and start riding with you. Just keep him company. And he had his stepson with him, and I said, but can I take my bow back to my room real quick so I can go ride with you? And he said, yep. And we get up on top of the mountain, and Monica gives him a call that somebody's eating. No, it's not somebody. A bear is eating cubby on target. I think it was 25.
Yeah.
And we buzzed down there, and there is Frank had no fear of the bear in the fact that he would get hurt. He was more fearful that somebody else might get hurt from the bear.
Yep.
And he jumped off, and I have a stepson with me, and I said, just stay behind me, and we'll get because Frank went up to do his job, and we're on the trail making sure that people know that there's a bear up there, and we didn't want one to run across and tackle him.
Right.
And I'm just saying, stay with me to his stepson, and it was just to watch Frank. He's selfless, but everything ends up all right,
Mm-hmm.
and the bear actually, I think it went to Jocko Willink's cabin and walked across a bow or something like that.
Really?
That was where that was a cabin. Kind of a funny story, but it was fun to watch that. I have videos, pictures, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And then other people had it when it was eating the eating cubby.
Yeah.
But we didn't get there when it was eating cubby. But it was around there. It went sniffed around, and we watched. But it was fun. But once again, selfless.
Yeah. Yeah, and shows up.
And that is some of the conversations that we could have in the vehicles and the pickups and whatever we do while we're doing it. And I'm lucky to have call Frank friend.
Yeah.
And Sean friend.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good dudes.
Those are really good. Those are really good dudes. And then we did a double.
We had a split episode with Mr. Paul Eric.
Yes, we did, and because it's interesting how long that conversation went, because nobody really was tired of talking.
Yeah, it was just like a conversation you'd have with your buddies, and you're not paying attention to the time, and there's no distraction or anything like that. We did it in the evening, so I didn't have any distraction from the kids, and we were just chatting away, and man, it went long. We ran into some technical difficulties and gave us an opportunity to take a bathroom break and come back and just dive right back into the conversation. But it was interesting how they're both kind of split, and it was like a hard reset all of a sudden. We come back to some of the things we talked about in the first one in part 2, but it was an individual or a separate conversation almost.
And it was. It's interesting because we, like you said, we had that hard reset. We went to the bathroom, got a drink, and did this and that, and then we started up again. Well, because it was hard having a conversation with like a 15-second leg.
Yeah, that was tough.
I mean, if we put this up on video, this is Ricky. He's just looking at the camera. Just no, like, we'd laugh and joke on the other side of the camera, and he was like,
Yeah, and then I would laugh.
Yeah.
And you could see it on the camera.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, 10 seconds later, you guys would already be into your conversation, and then all of a sudden you'd hear me laugh, and then you both would stop and look at the camera because you think I'm going to say something. It was, it's a little painful when that happens, but we figured out how to get past it, and we know what to do now. We basically just immediately stop the episode, reset, come back.
But like you said, it was kind of nice to have that break because we did have a different conversation.
Yeah.
And it still was an enlightening and entertaining conversation. We just went into a different direction.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And how does I don't know if people out there would understand this, but how do we I'm not saying how do we. I'm saying we have been lucky to have the friends and have I'm trying to find the right word, but we have been lucky to have the guests we've had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being this is episode 10. We didn't go ask Joe Schmo off the street here to have a conversation with us so we could start filling up podcasts. We've had great guests.
Yeah, and actually that just made me think too about the gal that reached out and said that she felt her husband would be a really good guest on the show because he was a motorcycle
for 36 hours, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
endurance
Yeah.
motorcycle. What do you call that?
It was the Baja. Yeah, it would be like it was down in the Baja. You know, they have the
Yeah.
Baja races, but he
Mhm.
was on a motorcycle, and that's cool. Reaching out to us because we're
Yeah.
gonna get back to you,
Mhm.
and so that those are what we're just lucky that people are saying, oh, this is maybe I know a person,
Yeah.
and I have about 5 or 10 people still one that we haven't had conversations with, and we have probably 10 more people that we have conversations that we're trying to get out.
Yeah, we just got to get them edited, and yeah, we've
But
got so much content.
and
It's amazing.
and that just makes me feel good that we are getting people to want to be on the show as well as listen to the show.
Yeah.
You know, and those are things that are very humbling.
Yeah.
Because when we were talking about this right after TAC, you know, and to do about Don't Die Rusty, we're going into hunting season, but we kept in contact, and I, I, when I talked to you about the equipment, and we started gaining, and then we said, you know, we're starting to get there, and then
Yep.
for Cindy, I mean, we've had our conversations in between there, but for Cindy to get me to have belief in me as a wife, to say go out to Las Vegas and get a few of these done,
Mhm.
and then for other people to start connecting with us, that is amazing. And all the editing that you do and the work that you put into this thing is amazing also.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for acknowledging that. I mean, it goes both ways, you know what I mean, as far as the amount of work that's being put in, and it is a lot of work, and that's what's amazing about kind of the direction that it's going. And I was just thinking about how, we were kind of, like you said, we were chipping away a little bit. Summertime's super busy for me, so it's hard for me to really find a lot of time to do anything. Then hunting season came. Then it's like, okay, now we can start moving. Let's start getting some of these episodes going. And then we were still a little bit unsure. Like we had a tentative date set, and then we pushed it back a little bit, and then it was like, and then we considered pushing it back again, but it was like, if we don't just do this, we're not going to do it.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, this is the fire that I need, lit under my rear end to kind of get things going. And were we prepared? No, but we got prepared,
Yeah, we did.
and it's it's going really well. You know what I mean? And we're just chipping away. Every episode gets a little better. We're getting more efficient with how we're doing things. Our communication is getting better. We're bringing some tools in to make things better. And so every episode we do, it gets smoother and smoother, and we get more and more people messaging us and telling us stuff. Just positive things about where it's taking them and people they know. And then speaking of wives too, it's like me being out here was just like
Yeah.
because you and Cindy were originally going to come to me, and then you guys weren't feeling well, and we just didn't think it would be a good idea for you guys to come out. And it's like, but we still got to make this happen. So what do we do? And I'm like, how about 2 weeks I fly out?
Yeah.
And it's like, let's do it, and I'm like, I don't know, have you ever seen those videos like on social media where it's like the guy and his wife are like sitting on the couch, and he's like sitting here doing this, and he's, and it basically says like me working up the courage to ask my wife to go on another hunt.
Yeah.
That was me on the couch after our conversation. And I'm just like, and I'm like, hey, so what do you think about me flying out to Rapid City, in a couple of weeks? And she's just like, yeah, do it. If you got to do it, it's like, and right now she's gearing up for the art season. So it's not the best time, but still this is what's amazing about the Don't Die Rusty wives is they're just as much a part of this as we are.
Yeah.
And we have just like amazing support coming from them, which we'll get into more future episodes, but that's going to be an episode we'll have to have with the four of us, so we can introduce the a major driving force behind the Don't Die Rusty podcast.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because Cindy doesn't want, she started out not wanting to talk, but I think she would, and I'm fearful of that. Not kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
She's very articulate, so I'm not sure why
very articulate.
why she would be so nervous.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
get it.
I thought you meant articulate about saying like what she would say about me. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding, but yeah. But no, because it's interesting because, and I know I've said interesting a lot here, people, but if you would know the chipping away, it was like I bought the Focusrite. Then I bought 2 headsets. Then I saved up and I got a 3rd headset. Then I'm not saying that I didn't have help with all this stuff because we have a dream and people have belief in you that they help you out. But then we got the 4th headset. Now I'm ready to go with 4 people. You had your stuff and we're chipping away at this individually as well as a team. And it's fun to watch something grow from ground up.
Yeah.
Because I know nobody really knows what really happens in the background or the beginnings or where the foundation and the roots start, but I do.
Yeah.
And it's expensive, but then is it worth it? And what we talked about in the beginning, it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes sense to me why podcasts don't make it past 7. Because there is a lot of work and you don't see a return in the beginning, and you look at some of the more successful podcasts that are out there now and they've been around for a decade, so it's like, and I think that, things were different when these people started podcasts 10 years ago. The tools weren't there to accelerate a podcast as quickly as you can now. And so, we talked about it too. And when I started the Range podcast, I did so much research about, there's so many podcasts out there. Like what's going to set yours apart from everybody else's that are going to make people want to listen? And you can't go into it with the mindset that it's all of a sudden you're just going to start stealing all these listeners from other people. It's something that you have to grow and develop, and through networking and through, just doing things in a smart way and all of that. And so we're growing, pretty good. We're accelerating at a faster rate than the Range podcast, when I first started that. And again, I think, part of that is because we have a broader audience. You know what I mean? So we can appeal to, the Range podcast is very niche in the archery arena. But in any case, just kind of going back to what we're talking about with getting all the gear and getting all the stuff that we need and chipping away. And it's just, it's funny because we'll poke around on the website for a little bit for like a day, and then 2 weeks goes by, and then it's like, get back in there and poke away a little bit again, and now we're to the point where it's like I gotta poke like daily. Yeah,
and that's where I was going to go. Is we will have a website coming out here soon, but I wanted to get a product out. This also, I think, says something about us if you're a listener. Yes, there's going to be Don't Die Rusty gear coming out, and Ricky and I have been in the R&D of the Don't Die Rusty. You created the Don't Die Rusty logo, which is amazing. And we will have caps, t-shirts, sweatshirts.
Here's the new Richardson 112.
Yeah. And and I'm a legacy person. It's just the way it is.
There's a legacy.
I like the legacies, and he's like the Richardsons. That's why I kind of went, yeah, because maybe that's kind of our personalities. So, like you said
Yeah.
in the beginning, you're the fitted person, and I'm kind of fly by the seat of your pants kind of person,
Yep.
fit not fitted, just whatever. But we'll have things coming out. But I wanted you to know what we were about,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to. I mean, I want to buy stuff that I'm proud to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. I'm saying that as a consumer.
Right.
I'm not just going to go buy a T-shirt that I don't want to wear, that I don't believe in some of the stuff. I mean, I understand that you have some cool T-shirts out there that say some funny things.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, I wear "Don't Die Rusty." That's probably my problem because we've been looking at stuff and doing stuff. I probably wear it all the time, more than I wear anything else
Right.
anymore because I'm proud to be Don't Die Rusty. And I want people to say, what is Don't Die Rusty? Because I'm proud of what we're creating.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud of the nation and the family that responds to us. And even if we don't know who you are, and if you have never said a word to us, but you kind of listen like I listen to things, I'm a fan of some things, but you wouldn't know it at times.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see Don't Die Rusty or somebody wearing something like that and it puts a smile on your face, and that's very cool to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is something to be proud of. Like I said, I'm not. I'm really proud of where this is going, and truly where the purpose of what we're doing this for.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And just I've started a lot of things in my life, and they either dissolved or didn't work, or for whatever reason, partners, button heads, those kinds of things. And we've gone into this knowing full well that, like, if we're going to do this, we need to do it.
Yep.
Right. And we're not perfect, you know what I
No.
mean? We miss some things get, you know what I mean? Like, but we both kind of understand and get it. And it's just like, hey man, it's fine. We'll just keep on trucking on. You know what I mean? Like, we tell each other that often, don't sweat it. Let's just keep going, and that's all there is to it. Some of the episodes we've done have had more, downloads than others, even though you wouldn't think it would, go that way. And so you're just kind of like scratching your head. You're like, what did we do there that didn't, why did that one not go off the way that we wanted it to? And so those are some of the areas where we're learning a lot too about how social media is such an integral part of getting this message out there.
Yeah.
And then, just figuring out these things of, I guess, understanding how to utilize the tools that are there for social media to get the most exposure. And we're growing, and it's gradual, and there's certainly those days where it's kind of like, man, you think about all the work you put in, but again, I always go back to that thought we had right in the beginning, and it's just like, we're not going to half-ass this. We're going full ass.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and I just know, like, I think about too, like, all these organizations that are successful now, they started a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, I'm not thinking like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to be successful for a decade. I think we got a 5-year plan here.
Oh, definitely.
And so we just got to keep this momentum rolling and just keep it going. And I mean, I think I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm kind of going around in circles here with this whole thing, but it's amazing. It's amazing to have you as a partner to work with. I think we work really well together. Sometimes I feel like we have a hard time saying some things, so we are getting better with that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Where
Yep,
it's just
I
like,
do.
hey man, there's no hard feelings. Like, this is just what we got to do to get this going and get it moving. And yeah, so we have this mutual agreement that we're gonna full ass this whole thing.
We are. But
That sounded weird.
that did. Terrible segue here. but we are chipping away, and we have a long we have a vision,
Yes.
and the more people here's one thing that we wanted to do, because we're going to have a contest. Probably it's coming out. You'll see it. But we're going to have a contest to move people to the right. I created the wrong Don't Die Rusty social media page.
Created a personal Facebook page, and we need to have a business page in order to link Facebook and Instagram together.
I know I was being more kinder to myself, and instead of saying I was technologically inept. But thank you for saying that, Ricky. I'm just but
Here we go again with me. More importantly, we need to be able to sell merch.
Exactly.
In order to
keep
spread the
forward.
word.
Yes.
So we need a business page for that.
We do need a business page for that, and we're going to have a contest coming out, and it might already be begun by the time this episode comes out on social media. But I don't want to be the person, the company that says you need to like, share, add 3 people, whatever, because I don't want that. I want us to grow grassroots wise.
Yeah, and I don't want to have people signing up just to win something and then leave when they don't win.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of success in that. I think there's something to be said about some brand awareness.
Yeah.
To a degree, but I think there's other ways to do things, and I want to try to get away. I want to find our own way.
I do
in
too.
that respect.
Because I don't know, because I just started listening to him, but I don't think Joe Rogan did that. Not that we're going to be Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but to your point, I see these contests all the time. I see all kinds of big companies are doing these contests, and so I know there's something to it. And I've done some contests, with my day-to-day gig, and I've seen marginal success with it, and perhaps I'm not doing it right, or perhaps we're not doing it the way we should. But again, it's just one of those things where even when I've done them, you see people come, and then as quickly as they showed up, they leave. That doesn't help us.
No, and I want the people that are going to be, because we are going to have contests. But or challenges, or whatever we decide we're going to do.
Right.
But I want people to want that shirt, not just enter it so I can win something.
Right.
In the aspect of, I'll put my name in here, then I want them to stay. I want them to be proud to be a Don't Die Rusty family member.
Right. So
that is, and if you're listening, not if you're listening, but since you are, the guests we have coming up are going to be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've had the ones that we've done are amazing. And that's the cool thing about the people we get to have these chats with. It's just amazing. We have world-class ultra runner and a world-class jiu-jitsu. This is, when we were talking about we aren't in a certain niche. We're out here putting just good people out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In
all walks of life, man.
Yeah, because we have. So I'm gonna give you a few episodes ahead. We have Tommy and Dara Parker. They're coming up right after this one.
From Warrior Rising.
It's
a nonprofit organization.
And I don't know. I don't think we need to put that one into a 2 episode. You'll just have to push pause if you have to go do something. But it is just a wonderful conversation that we had with him.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't heard it yet, so I'm kind of excited to dive into that one.
And then we have one with Brian Anderson from Prime Archery.
Yeah.
And we have John and Jules Barklow. And I really appreciate that one because we have Jules in it. And people know that a lot of people know who John Barklow is. He's the creative mind at Sitka.
Yeah.
But he does all of his talking, but does he, just like the Don't Die Rusty people behind us, wives behind us, it's nice to know that Jules is behind us.
Yeah, literally, they just look behind me.
Yeah, behind John. It's nice to talk to the person behind John, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's interesting again to go back to the idea that we have with Don't Die Rusty, and that is everybody knows, like, John is the resource to go to when you want to know about layering systems in different types of scenarios, whether it be hunting or in the backcountry. He is the guy to go to.
Yes.
And if you want to know that information, there's several podcasts out there you can go to. You can go to his social media channel. But if you want to know something about what's here, and then also include his better half, you go to Don't Die Rusty.
Yes.
Exclusive interview.
There you go. Got to go chat with him, stay at his house. It was a wonderful weekend that I wouldn't say wonderful in the getting there part because it was kind of stormy, but it was fun when we got there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you and I got to have the conversation with Sloan Brown.
Yeah, that was incredible.
And it took me in a different direction than I thought we were going to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was just one of those amazing conversations that I went, holy moly, I just got hit by a little more lightning.
Yeah.
It in honesty, when you guys, I changed a little perspective of my life with that conversation.
Yeah.
Because everything builds and molds me, like, in these conversations, and I just went, thank you, Sloan. That was, I appreciate the conversation that we just had. And I hope we get to have him on again.
Yeah, for sure. And that's going to be another one of those situations that's going to branch out into a lot of other opportunities because of, the people that are in his network and, all of that. And so, again, one of those things where we just keep branching out. I mean, it's just, the tree is just growing.
Yes. So we have a lot of great people coming up.
Mm-hmm. We've got a handful of other people. I've got some people I've been meaning to reach out to for a while, and I just need to make that happen. You know what I mean? So we can start getting those conversations going too. Because just you're scrolling along, and then you see this dude surfing in Lake Superior, and there's ice.
Yep.
Everywhere, and I'm going, man, that's a guy we need to talk to. Whether we can actually get him on the show is another thing. But and I'm going to knock on wood here and just not jinx myself and try to manifest that. But yeah, I mean, just so many other people where we're just like, that'd be a really interesting person to have on the podcast, and not know, and some of these people, like, not even knowing them prior to having these conversations could make it fun.
I mean, we want all kinds of people from all facets of life.
Yeah.
And we aren't here. Our success is them telling a story and you guys listening to it and saying, you know what? They didn't give up. They kept pushing forward. They conquered whatever they needed to conquer. They're winning in life.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have to be winning now, but you can see they're going in that direction. And that's what we want to do.
Yep. Yeah.
What do you think, doing this in the next 10 episodes?
Yeah, I think that's going to kind of be the plan. I think about every 10th episode. Look forward to us having this conversation episode number 20. Once again, I like these little recaps.
Yeah.
And I think it's just good because we have, we're constantly getting new followers and new listeners and stuff like that. And I know people can't always go back to, start from scratch, episode 1, and kind of move their way in. And it's good to get some updates out there too, to kind of let everybody know what's going on. The website, we're going to be poking away at that and trying to get that up as quickly as we can. And again, we both have everyday gigs and families and all that stuff, so we're trying to, just chip away and grind as much as possible and still get good sleep and stay healthy, both mind and body. And
because we don't need to die rusty either.
Exactly. Can't have the hosts of Don't Die Rusty dying rusty.
No. So here's one thing. How about in episode 20, like one of our listeners come on and just chat with us a little bit?
Yeah. I like that idea. That'd be cool.
Yep. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought. That was just a thought.
I like that. I think that's a great idea. We could do a recap episode like this, but we could just insert, 20 to 30 minute conversation with one of our Don't Die Rusty family members.
I was just thinking, I was going to say, and maybe in the 20, they can say, we're going to pick a Don't Die Rusty listener that would want to talk to us, not just listen, and have a conversation, and tell us how Don't Die Rusty has affected them.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a brilliant idea. I like it.
Get a hold of us on social media.
Yeah.
And we'll either on the Instagram or the Facebook side, and we're going to pick a person.
Yeah. Reach out and tell us your story or,
In episode 20, I want you guys to reach out to us.
Well, they could start right now.
Well, you could start right now.
Yeah.
You could start right now, and by episode 20, if you are willing to chat with us, tell us the episode and how Don't Die Rusty has affected you.
Yeah.
And we'd like to just chat with you and maybe in the next recap for a little while.
Yeah.
So because I know there's listeners out there that might not want to talk, but I hope there's some out there that say, hey, I'd chat with you.
Yeah.
And just let me know. We'll have a little conversation with you and insert you in the next the episode 20.
Yeah. I love that. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, all right. We will chat with you next time. So, as always, don't forget to follow your dreams and don't die rusty.
See you later.